he announced a deal with Indonesia that will see its exports to the U.S. face a 19% tariff.
Indonesia was great. He's a great president. And we made a terrific deal where they opened up the entire country to trade with the United States. We weren't allowed to go in and trade. I think something similar will happen with I would say, India.
Let's get to our Indonesia Deputy Bureau Chief, Claire Jiao, joining us here as well. It seems like this was a bit of a surprise in some ways, Claire, but what do we know more about this deal?
Well, what appears to be the clincher so far is really elevating the talks to the presidential level, because negotiators have been at this for a few months now. You have our ministers flying over to Washington to try and hammer out a deal. But what changed last night was President Donald Trump said he was dealing directly with President Prabowo, and that seems to have been enough. If you look at the details of the deal that Trump has posted about so far, it looks very similar to what Indonesia has proposed before. We're talking about $15 billion in energy purchases, increased imports of wheat, even about 50 to even 75 new Boeing planes for the state airline Garuda. So it remains to be seen what exactly the new details are so far that seem to have moved the needle for Washington. We're expecting President Prabowo to arrive in Jakarta sometime today to give more details on the agreement. But there are a lot of questions on what the timeline will be and how realistic these pledges will be. Off the back of our off the cuff, these calculations could show that could wipe out Indonesia's trade surplus with the U.S., which is around 18 billion as of 2024. But whether these pledges could actually happen and how soon they could is the question. For example, Garuda is still short on cash and hasn't really also gotten any of the Boeing planes it's ordered before. So it remains to be seen what progress would be made in this next deal.
Claire, before we talk about whether this is a template that we could maybe use for other potential trade deals in the region, I just want to ask, has the Indonesian side confirmed that a deal has been made with the U.S.?
So we're looking for a stronger confirmation. The closest we've gotten to that is them saying they're preparing a joint statement, and then Prabowo will likely give a briefing sometime today, but that's it.
Okay, so if I'm another, Southeast Asian country that's still kind of undergoing these talks with the U.S. right now, how should I look at this deal in Indonesia and frame how things move forward for, as a template possibly, maybe?
Yeah, so it seems like the clincher, as I said, is really elevating the talks to the top level with the president, but also the importance of really wiping out that trade surplus. That's been the figure that Trump and negotiators have been focusing on, that $18 billion in trade surplus that Indonesia had with the U.S. last year. And with $15 billion in energy imports, about $5 billion in agriculture purchases, that could just be enough to tip the balance.